So let's just go ahead and jump right in. This is going to be week 6. This is where we're going over the week 5 materials. I'm big on repetition because I'm big on habits and building those habits through repetition. So the purpose, of course, obviously, the reason we're here is to build community, stay accountable, and pass the RCA together. This is not for us to come and have someone teach us, but this is kind of like a public accountability room so that we can all say that we've done it, haven't done it, and be there for each other to ask questions. We have a very good ability to reach out to people who are masters and people who have experience. Inge, thank you. Last week, I think you gave a lot of input to the team that was very valuable. So I'm glad to see you again on this.
Thank you.
All right. So we're just going to do a quick roll call and then we will jump right into the items. Anthony, can you hear us yet? Oh, you got it. Good.
Yeah, finally got it.
All right. Sounds good. Welcome. All right. All right. Well, I guess just to start off, I mean, did anything kind of stand out to you guys? You guys had a good week overall? Did you guys have any time to study during the week? I'm going to be honest, I didn't get to do it until this morning. It was busy.
That is so very honest of you.
Yeah, well, long days. How about you guys?
Yeah, it's been a busy week for me as well. I've started somewhat, but not really. I haven't finished all of it.
We'll test a little bit of that knowledge and hopefully what you've reviewed is on there. I think
Hoping so.
Yeah, and I think one of the key points here is that these things overlap. The different sections of material that we're studying, they overlap. They overlap with a lot of the day-to-day that we do at work, and they overlap with different sections that we've reviewed previously and that we will review in the future. So just the more access we have, the more time we spend on materials is good. All right, so let's just jump right in. We'll just jump right in this week again to the Quizlet-based live Q&A. I got 2 sections here that I'd like to kind of go over. I think I've created a quick test about an hour ago with a few questions. We can talk through those really quick like we have been. And then we can start on reviewing the study resource that was provided. I forget who provided it last week. It was one of our guests last week. And we can look at those questions and see if we can answer those. This will help us kind of to review like previous weeks as well. And at the end of the day, it's going to make us feel a lot more confident when it comes time to take the test. All right, I'll stop talking. I'm talking a little bit too much. So let's jump right in. Let's do first question here. Would anybody like to give an answer to this?
Yes, I think it's option 2.
Anybody else agree or disagree?
I do agree.
Me too.
Good. Number 2, what is the name of the field that determines the maximum document size of the short message viewer? This one almost got me. I gotta, for being honest, this one almost got me.
Say option 1.
Yeah, for some reason, this seems so obvious. Like, oh yeah, well, duh, it's the short message viewer size. But I think you're right on this one.
Even I felt that actually. I thought it would be 4 because usually used to that native file size, right, in bytes. A very
right.
short field name.
Yeah, exactly. Just thinking through it, I think, just my best guess, and maybe this RCA study exam will be a better indicator, but I feel like this RSMF question is going to be a big one, whether it's on the test or not, but it'll be big for day-to-day because we're seeing more and more text messages. Number 3, what is the maximum document size recommended for loading the short message viewer?
Say option.
What was that?
I believe
I think
two.
option one.
Okay, option one, Anthony. I mean, Visme.
I feel it's 1 GB or less, but probably I'm wrong. I haven't worked on short message view ever.
All right, no worries. So this is going to be the beauty of this calls is that once you read the material, it'll sink in. I believe it's 250 megabytes or less. All right, and then just two more really quick. The specific types of searches can be performed using the short message viewer. Or what type of specific types? Sorry, what specific types of searches can be performed using the short message viewer? I'll answer.
Option one,
I'll answer the. Okay, timeline navigator and RSMF file processing. I can see how that could sound like it. I'm pretty sure it's number two, though. Anthony or Inga, if you have any,
I think
or
number
also,
two is, well, number one sounds like it could be because it has the timeline navigator, phrase in there. You're thinking, okay, sounds right, but I think you're right about number two.
yeah, they all sound kind of right. I think it is number two, and it's only because what stood out to me were this emojis, and I remember the specific statements. You can actually search for emojis in a
Yeah.
couple of different
in
ways.
the first question that we answered, where we stated that short message viewer is, I believe, used for viewing HTML documents and attachments. I believe there was also an option of an emoji there. Yeah, the fourth one. Oh, short viewer messages only displays images and emojis, which does not enhance the user experience. Okay.
That's a tricky one. It does
Yeah.
it does enhance the user experience. I mean, it's subjective maybe, but
Sure.
right. Last one.
Describe the role of timeline navigator in the short notes and was used to in the state distribution. And I was researching about this and stuff. Mm, Seems like option one. If I'm
Yeah,
supposed to understand it as an email thread, I believe if it's anywhere close to what email threading is, I think it should be number one.
I agree with this, May.
I agree as well. This seems pretty simple this week. I don't know. Might have to do some more tests on that one, but let's see.
I don't know.
I'm
These are
always
tricky
nervous.
questions.
Huh?
I mean,
These
the
are tricky
questions all look
questions.
similar. Yeah, I mean, they look
Yeah.
similar too.
It's
And
like
yeah,
I'm
the
going to
answers
get
are
my
much more
driver's
tricky.
license test.
Yeah, true, true, true.
All right, let's see. Drum roll. All right,
Ooh, not bad, guys.
Ooh, cool. Yeah.
not bad. Okay. So that should build some confidence. I mean, that this text literally came out of each of the links for this week. So pretty good stuff.
Very true. I recall one question on the exam. In the collection of the RSMF file that is created, they are staged in relativity one using rows. What does rows stand for?
Ooh, like this one.
Is it metadata of the file that we stage?
Used in relativity, and it's an actual acronym, and that is something that we need to know.
Oh, yeah. Rose, isn't that Relativity 1 Staging Explorer?
Correct.
Nice. Okay, that's a good one. I wonder if that
Oh,
one's in
you said
here.
rows.
Yeah.
When Inge said rows, I thought it is ROWS, not ROSE.
Oh, Rose.
Yes, that is correct. Little things like that. You will find that in the text, and in the text, when you're reading it, you might not necessarily think that that is the one detail that they're going to ask you about. That is a detail that they'll ask you. Absolutely. Yeah.
Got it.
I mean, when she said rows, I thought, yeah, it might be just listing the metadata in a particular row like we do it in Excel.
He's thinking rows, like rows.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's super helpful. And yeah, when I'm reading through this documentation and I start to zone out because maybe it's some long text. I'm like, okay, focus because you're gonna miss the little detail in here that's gonna be super important. So that's
Yeah.
actually thank you for that one.
That is
Well, I'm thankful. I'm so thankful the RCA exam is not like the spelling bee exam that we give when we were in school.
that is
Yeah.
that is. I'm wondering, does anybody have any experience with the RSMF files, with processing
This is the
those?
first time I'm hearing it.
Sorry?
This is the first time
Yeah, a
I'm
little
hearing
bit.
it.
Oh,
Um,
anybody else? Anybody processed RSMF files? I am having trouble with viewing Slack files. They are being displayed as JSON, and that is just not helpful for searching. Anybody experience with that?
I
No?
haven't
Yes.
processed or loaded RSMS yet. I did help a client yesterday actually with trying to image them, and I found out today because like you, Daniel, I waited until today to
Okay. Yeah.
review the material, and I found out through the material that you can image RSMS in color using the basic imaging um, image profile, and I was trying to use native color, and it just wasn't working. It kept coming out black and white. Talked to my boss. He didn't know that RSMS couldn't be imaged in color as well, but the community says use basic imaging profile. We didn't use that. So I wonder if it could work now.
You will have to delete all the images that you have created before and then completely start over from scratch. One of the
Yeah.
questions that I recall from the RCA is that what are all the ways of creating an image? And this is a very simple question. We know the answer, we've done it, but what are all the ways of imaging?
Okay. Imaging set, the image option and the mass edit option. Then we can ask processing or use a NX tool to do that.
Yeah, an image on the fly.
Image on the
Action
fly.
tab. Yeah.
What again? Come again?
Using the mass action tab at the bottom where you see edit,
Yeah.
and then you can do like
Yeah,
replace.
that is what I went
Just
on my option to. Image, there's an image option there,
Mhm.
right there.
Right from a
Yeah.
safe
And
search. I didn't know you could do that.
yes, true. Okay, before I get lost further in this, when you say RSMF files, are these data from mobile devices from the client? Like we send out a collection kit and we receive the client's laptop or the client's mobile device or something, and then we ask our team to like, I believe the whole processing set extension is also different for this. Is that the one?
Well, um, in the materials, you will find that these are messages using the short message format, if you will. So this can be
Hmm.
iMessage or Skype or Slack or from Bloomberg. Um,
Oh, okay.
yeah, and any SMS, any Google Chat, any WhatsApp. I don't. Is Teams messaging also displayed as RSMF? I do think so.
So
So
I
Yeah.
believe I have worked on this. I believe like as a coordinator, project coordinator here, what we do is we send out a collection kit and the client sends us the custodian's mobile device.
yeah,
That is supposed to be extracted. Is this the whole process that we follow? It's not a standard procedure that we usually do, where we just collect the data from FTP and load it. But I believe we have to process the whole mobile device, get the data extracted, and then we'll process and load it. Is that it?
which is, yes, when you have a mobile device and you collect it, there are a lot of things that you can collect from a mobile device. You can collect all the pictures from it. You can collect all
Yeah.
the emails from it, but that is not what
Hmm.
RSMF is. So the
Oh, okay.
RSMF data is strictly to the iMessage, the messaging on any devices. So messaging apps. So when you
Oh, all right, all right.
yeah. So say you have the app TikTok and people are commenting on each other with emojis and whatever,
Mm-hmm.
that
Oh, okay, okay.
yeah. Can you access it on your phone? Can you therefore collect it from your phone when you extract all the data from that particular app? Sure. But it's not
Mm-hmm.
restricted to saying all only the data from your mobile device because there's a lot more on it. Now, if you have a full collection and you collect the entire phone, you could get so much more information. When you have a targeted collection, and sometimes they will say, as in, we just want the data from messaging,
The chat.
or
Yeah.
text messages, and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. If they don't want the emails, so they
Mm-hmm.
not RSMF, messaging, SMS, texting, iMessage, anything like that, that is RSMF.
All right. Got it. Got it.
Yeah. So they process not the same way as emails, if you will. You have to have a RSMF's processing setup that is
Mhm.
different than processing PDFs or different than processing emails or anything.
I believe forensics team is involved in this, right?
Sorry, come again.
I mean, usually we send it out to the forensics team to get them processed.
Well, yeah.
In
I
some
would say
organizations,
if you work in a environment where you have a different department doing your collections, then usually yes,
Mm-hmm.
but you will need to tell
Uh-huh.
your forensics department as in, hey, we are looking for this type of data. Uh,
Uh-huh.
and this is not something that I am versed in. I don't do the collections, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
But usually
Mm-hmm.
a specialist in forensics, they will say, oh, you want to extract this type of data. Therefore, we're going
Mm-hmm.
to use this particular software, this particular program. But when you're anticipating RCMF files, you will need to tell forensics as in, this is something different because you also need to really establish what time zone that you're going to use for everything.
Yeah.
And what are you going to do with 24-hour cutoffs? So if a message starts, say, on a Monday night, slightly before
Mm-hmm.
midnight, but a message is continuing with responses and emojis being sent over midnight, what are you going to do there?
Got it. Got it. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, to me, this is a really, really difficult topic because yeah, you have to get somebody involved who is really, really, really technical with the software that we usually don't use.
Usually.
Yeah. But yeah, it's important when say you have a court order and they're saying as in, hey, we want not just the emails, but we also want the text messages, or and you have all those companies that are using Slack or they're using Teams or they're using whatever internal messaging software
Mm-hmm.
basically, that you send a message to your coworker, not using an email. Those type
Mm-hmm.
of messages, when you collect those
Mm-hmm.
become RSMF.
Yeah. Got it.
Yeah.
yeah,
So
and
they
it
did play in a different way and they have a different imaging setting. Yeah.
yeah,
They're
it's quite a in-depth topic. So there are a number of ways that data exists, data gets collected, or even in some instances where data will process well um, as an RSMF to host if it's hosted in an organization using a proprietary piece of software or some other third-party software, like oh gosh, I can't like maybe Hubble or something like a data maintenance. It can change the structure of the data. So I think in a nutshell, it is collect the data as it collect the raw data, right? Usually in like JSON, usually, maybe, depending. Well, I guess maybe I shouldn't say usually, but depending. and then processing that for RSMF to host for the viewer. But yeah, it gets crazy. I mean, I think just in the last year there was some data for a large organization that we didn't have the tool set up to turn it into RSMF. It wasn't done. We've done it? Yes, it would have taken some time, but it was a small set of data, and we just ended up doing something manual, which is host it in the database and create an overlay file to create the relationships. And so that stuff still happens.
Wow. Yeah.
But yeah, it happens, and we turned it into a process just in case there were additional documents because of a proprietary database that was used. But even in this new turn of technology that's helping us process and review, there's still a lot of data out there that isn't accounted for, and it changes so quickly. I was just reading today, right, that this RSMF tool 2.0 now has additional features that 1.0 didn't have, and we know that technology is going to continue to change and add new features and add new emojis possibly. And so, relativity really has, or any tool that's doing something to this effect is really going to have its work cut out for it to stay up to date with the tools, just like forensics does. That's my take.
Yeah, very true.
All right, let's keep going. Real quick, I thought it would be a good idea. Not only are we doing for that week, but also just kind of hit on this RCA exam study, and that was actually great. Thank you again, Inga. Beautiful addition to this to really kind of get in depth to some of the real world knowledge, and some of the RCA questions. And I'm also thinking maybe we just go over some of these. This is the RCA exam study resource that someone gave us last call. And this will give us some time, an opportunity to kind of review some of the questions that'll still also be on the RCA exam. So for the first question, how can you restrict a group's access to a set of documents? This was kind of tricky when I first read it, but if you just think about maybe what you've done on a day-to-day basis where you've had to secure docs.
Yes.
What do
I
you think?
have a quick example of this.
Yeah, shoot, please.
So one of the guys I work for, where I use Relativity Server every single day, he, on each one of the workspaces that we have for the various A through Z clients, there's always on the folder section, there's always an admin. We do like, exclamation mark admin, exclamation mark, that's what we name it. And then we secure it to where only we're able to have access to it. And as well as OASIS administrators as well. But what we do, if we ever need to not remove documents, but sequester them, we can sequester them into the admin folder to where they aren't visible to the clients.
Yeah, I think not all companies, but a lot of companies do that. And also, I've seen companies use that type of folder structure to QC before they release it into the wild as well. All right, so what are we looking, A, B, C, or D? How do you actually create that folder?
Yeah.
Listen, that helps to set the stage. Now, exactly how does that happen?
Yes.
I have a feeling it's option C. And by the way, Harish has a question in the chat.
Yeah, I would say. I think either A or C.
A or C? Why is it C, do you think?
Ismay?
Oh, sorry. I changed my answer, I believe. I thought when I noticed folder browser, I thought it is one particular folder. This is the whole list right next to the safe search. I take it back. Option A. Sorry. So sorry.
Option A. Okay. Why do you think it's option A?
Because that way if you can assign like security to one particular folder, probably like the admin staging that we create when we load the data first from the processing team.
Mhm,
and then we move the data live for the user to review.
mhm.
So that way we do like the admin staging folder is not visible to the client.
So can you apply, if you want to restrict a certain folder, can you apply that to the group level security to the group?
I'm not sure if we can.
Well,
Yeah.
a group, you can give certain restrictions and certain permissions, sure.
Mhm.
So we're not necessarily looking for all the answers that could be correct. We're looking for the closest answer. Because if you have
Okay.
group level security towards a group, that is not necessarily saying that that particular folder,
Mhm.
that particular set of documents is now restricted.
Okay.
So the set of documents, that is what they're trying to restrict. What is the best way of doing that? Is that the best way of doing restricting an entire group? No. Restricting one user? Well, the user is in a group.
I believe restricting the folder would be the
Yep.
optimal option.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's an answer too.
Oh, now you gave away the answers.
Sorry, I was looking at the laser.
It's okay. Those too many letters. I didn't memorize.
All right, well said. Well said. Yeah, no, I hope nobody took a screenshot of that. All right, maybe let's see, maybe two more here real quick. Okay. Next one, what can members of the workspace admin group do? Select all that apply. Harish, Nia, feel
Option
free to
D.
jump in as well. Well, it's more than one. Um,
Well, what do you need to do to edit the script's permissions? What do you need to do for that?
We need access to script library.
to what level?
Script library, we need access to that. I mean, I've never edited a script, but I have edited them.
Yeah, the script. So I don't know, Inga, is it this is system administration, right?
Mhm. Yeah, this falls on the system administration. Yeah.
So it leaves us with I think these three that we have the ability um to do.
Manage queues, add groups to the workspace.
Yeah.
But here at our firm, admins are not allowed to add groups to the workspace.
Well, the works.
Allowed to add, well, here's the thing. As an admin, your permissions can still be restricted. They can still be refined. But if you have
Okay.
all the permissions as an admin, do you
Hmm.
can you then edit the script permissions? No.
Yeah.
If you have all the permissions, and that is the tricky part, of course, if you work in an environment where you as an admin, your permissions
Hmm.
are also restricted. If you work with a light version of relativity or sure, then you might not have that particular permission. So this is where you really need to dive into the materials because an admin should have or
Hmm.
relativity, the materials will give you an oversight of everything that is available to an admin. So even though you work in an environment for a company and your permissions don't have that, I used to work for a company and we did not have the mass edit imaging permissions. Why not? I don't know. But yes, I missed that one question on the RCA because I did not have those permissions, but they are available. And you know that when you're in the materials of the RCA.
Well said. Well said. That's a very good point. Um, yeah. So the best answer to this would be B, C, and D, with the caveat that there are additional permissions that can be applied. Okay, last one because we're running out of time. I think we got about 6 minutes left here. So last one, the what admin operation permission is necessary to view another user's private saved searches?
Did this one this week. Um, it might be different on server, but it said view another user's personal items.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is.
Yep, there it is.
Yeah,
All right, you good. All right, you made up for the answering the wrong question on one with that question. So
I
nice.
did. I did. Thank you.
Yeah.
For the
All right. Yeah,
exam,
I think
you concern yourself with server. It's only relativity one.
only relativity one.
Yep.
All right. That's it. We got 6 minutes. So let me just run through the next this week coming up. All right. So we're almost halfway there. I think it's a really good idea that we're adding this RCA questioning here. And Inga, if you could be at every single call, it seems like I appreciate it. I know it's a lot to ask, but I think what we'll do is I've also got a questionnaire from Yitzi, I believe is his name, who also provided he took the RCA, he's a big test taker. He provided some additional questions. I'm going to run through those and see if those will be helpful. I'll provide those as a resource. But we're about halfway there. So we're going to go into week 6. The materials are run mass operations. So if you are a little bit behind, start today, stay up, stay on track, stay up to date. And in addition to that, hopefully we can get through week 6 by next Saturday. So week 6 looks like, I was trying to find it on my page. I don't think it's a lot of, does anyone happen to have theirs open? There,
The RCA
yeah,
study path thingy.
yeah, the RCA path. I think I found it. Let's see.
Oh, it says week 6 is 1 hour. It's
1 hour.
only it's only one task kind of thing you got to do. One thing.
Awesome. One section.
Probably a drop down right below the reviewed panel.
Yeah. But it does have, a couple of pages here to read. A lot of times, a lot of this is just like, definitions and whatnot. So you may not need to read it all, but I think we made a point here on this call that we want to get into the details and really understand the text. So 1 hour, but lots of pages. Good luck. Feel free to post questions. I think if we could post questions inside of that LinkedIn group, that might be helpful. The LinkedIn group, let me show you guys one thing before I should have that ready. Let's give me a second.
When you say post questions on the LinkedIn group, do you mean just like in the group itself, just post it to like the main page?
Yeah.
Okay, I can do that because I got some questions that I think of that are kind of like niche,
Yeah. And I think like in every day, like day-to-day questions as well. I mean, obviously it'd be great to focus on RCA questions, but this group
Is
here
it-
could start posting.
You should
It'd be,
call that group Reddit instead of an official group study group.
you should call it what?
You should call it Reddit, where
Yeah.
people post questions and answer.
Oh, I know. Yeah. This is actually Rhino had created this group a long time ago, and we're just kind of, using it for our group calls. But it's been
Mhm.
helpful. Anyway, hopefully we can get this active group badge. We can bring more people in to kind of do this. I think what said last call or a couple calls ago that Relativity really should be kind of facilitating these. Would be nice, but until then, we'll continue to have these calls and hopefully help each other get there. But if you have a question, post it in here, and we'll have access to the entire group to help answer those questions. All right, that's it. Hey, I personally appreciate all you guys that showed up today. So cool to have you guys here. Welcome to the newcomers. I think a couple of new names I haven't seen. And for everybody who's watching this afterwards, good luck, stay on track,